Okay, so let's briefly review the what we learned in the previous lecture. In the previous lecture, we learned about the user group million FSM. Then I hope you can understand the meaning of Moore FSM and Billy FSM. So those two different FSMs are different methods to implement the FSM, the finite state machine. So I explained that we need to design FSM to define the different operations based on different states. And then the operation states can be changed by input signals. And it's the same to our real world example, like the smartphone. The smartphone can work the high performance mode or the energy saving mode. Okay. So actually, so you need to, so we can distinguish Moore FSM and Billy FSM using this input and output signals on the state transition. So which means that actually if you see the output, it means that how to generate the output signal. Then in the Moore machine, the Moore FSM, the output is generated on state. So it means that the output is generated by only the current state. But the state diagram, state transition diagram of the Billy FSM, then you can notice that the output signal is located on the arc. So it means that when the state is changed, the state can be changed if the input signal is received. So when the input signal is received, then we need to find the output signal of Billy FSM. So if you see the state transition diagram, then you can distinguish it with Moore FSM and Billy FSM. And then, so I explained that. So actually, so we designed the Moore FSM and Billy FSM based on the same problem definition. But I said that the timing of output can be different. That is because and then actually it's obvious. So it is because in the Billy FSM, the output is changing when the input is changing. But in the Moore FSM, the output is determined by only current state, but the current state is changing. So it means that it's reflected right at the rising edge of clock, right? Because this is FSM and state is changed by state. So state output is determined by state register. And then state register is the group of flip-flops. The output of state register is changing right after the rising edge of the clock. That's why the timing can be different. Okay. So we can apply the vector FSM because if we design our problem using the only one FSM, then it can be very complex. So it means that our FSM will have many states, and also our FSM will include the many state transition condition. Okay. So it will be it can be very complex. So we can separate so one large FSM into multiple smaller FSMs, like this example. Okay. So usually, if the number of states are very large, it means that it's over 8 or 9, then it can be, so it will be very complex. Okay, so now we are also learning about the hardware description language, the SystemVerilog. So we learned how to design flip-flops and latches. Okay, so these are the actually flip-flops. So this flip-flop is the basic component of this design actually. So most of these the systems include the clock signal. And then I also explain why most digital systems use clock signal. So we need to arrange the flow of signals using the clock signal. Okay, so now, so let's learn about the unique feature of audio description language is the blocking and non-blocking assignment. So as I mentioned, this is the unique feature of audio description language. So let's see why. So this is the combinational logic design, and then when the signal, the output of signal or output of combinational logic is assigned to another signal, then I use equal sign. So it means assignment. Okay, so this is the already statement. So inside of the already statement, when these input signals are changed, and these output signals are determined, also change it. And then it means that based on the function or operation of the right hand side equation, the value of this left hand side signal is assigned or determined. It means the equal sign also represents the assignment of this right hand side signal. Okay, but some students also notice that. So in deep flip-flop, so I use this operator, this assignment assignment symbol. So and then it's a little bit different. So I use so this assignment symbol looks like the arrow symbol. So it's different. In the sequential logic design, I use this assignment operator or symbol. Then what is different? Actually, there are two different assignment modes in SystemVerilog. So it's a non-blocking and blocking assignment. So non-blocking assignment means that each assignment. So assignment means that the right hand side signals or right hand side values are assigned to the left hand side signal. Okay. But when these values are assigned, and then if we use non-blocking assignment, so this symbol, then those assignments occur simultaneously. So what does it mean? Concurrently. It means in parallel. Okay, in parallel with others. So parallel means that there are many assignments. So like actually in this example I used only one assignment statement, but you can use the multiple assignment inside of this always FF statement. So like the A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay. So non-blocking means that those assignments occur simultaneously or concurrently. So which means that at the same time, these right hand values are assigned to the left hand side signal. Okay, at the same time. Okay, that means the simultaneous or simultaneously or concurrently or in parallel. Okay, so it means that in the hardware, those signals are assigned to the signal at the same time, right? So that's why I use this non-blocking assignment inside of the always FF statement. So this is the deep flip-flop. At the right edge of the flop, These right hand side values are assigned to the left hand side signal at the same time, at the same rising edge of the clock. Okay, so if we use the multiple assignment in here, okay, so this is the meaning of non-blocking assignment. Then what is blocking assignment? So this is in parallel, okay, concurrently. The blocking assignment means sequential. So don't be confused with the name sequential. So sequential means that it's in order, okay? In order. So 순서대로, sequentially means 순서대로, in order, okay? It's in order. So don't be confused with this is the sequential logic, but the meaning is different. Sequentially means in order. So blocking assignment means this assignment occurs in order. So sequentially from top to bottom. So actually, if we use the non-blocking assignment, so this is very similar to the representation of software programming language, right? So if we just like the equal C equal D. So if we assign some variable to these other variables like this in the C program, then how we can understand that the B is assigned to the A and done. Sorry. C equal A and then D equal C. Then the A is assigned by B, so which means that A becomes equal to B, and then this change is reflected immediately. This assignment is reflected, it's done immediately, and then the new value, the A is assigned to B, right? And then it is reflected immediately. C is assigned to B. So if in the programming language, if you use the programming language, then the states, multiple statements are executed in order. And then blocking assignment means that these assignments occurs in order, in the order of assignment. Okay, so sequentially. So this is the different those are different assignments in SystemVerilog. So there are two assignment methods in the SystemVerilog. So it's the non-blocking and then blocking. So you can understand that the non-blocking means the simultaneously. So it means in parallel, and then blocking assignment means the in order assignment. So it means the assignments occurs sequentially. Okay. So you can understand only these things, concurrently or sequentially. Then how can you understand these different assignments? Okay, so let's see the example of non-blocking assignment. So if you see this example, you can find that so there are two D flip-flops. Okay, so right, there are two D flip-flops, and then the D flip-flop is working with the clock signal, and then there are two inputs, right? D0 and D1, and then Q, and then there are two outputs, 2 0 and 2 1. So in this example, then you can find that this D flip-flop works with the same clock signal. Okay, so it means that at the rising edge of the clock, so this is the clock signal, and then at the rising edge of the clock, the Q0 becomes the D0, so which means that D0 is reflected to Q0. So D0 is assigned to Q0. Also, at the same time, at the rising edge of the clock, D1 is assigned to Q1, right? Because this is E flip-flop. So these are E flip-flops. So if we use E flip-flops, and then actually the output of the E flip-flops are changing only at the right-hand edge of the clock. The same time in parallel, okay, concurrently. So it means if we implement the E flip-flop, then we usually use non-blocking statement, non-blocking assignment. Understand? That's why I use this assignment symbol for the E flip-flop design. But let's think about the combinational logic. So this is the example of a combinational logic, and then for the combinational logic, we use blocking assignment, and let's see why. So this is the example of a combinational logic, and you are familiar with this circuit. So there are three inputs, and then also we can find the internal node. Then how can you implement this logic using the SystemVerilog? So we need to use the already come statement, and then how can you implement? So we already know that the signals start in the left side. So the signals start from here, the left side, and then firstly we encounter inverter, right? And then N1 is the output of this inverter. So N1. So I said that the signals flow from left side to the right side, and then the signals firstly encounter inverter. Then N1 is determined. So we can define N1 as the not of P, the inversion of P. And if we see that this AND gate, so if we just see this AND gate, so AND gate receives the N1 and A, right? So after that, so I assign the not B to the N1, and if we see that this one, N1 and A becomes the N2, right? And then I use blocking assignment. So what does that mean? So like the C program, N1 becomes not P immediately. So this is the meaning of blocking assignment. N1 becomes not P immediately. Then this N1 is the same to this N1, right? So the same, right? And then N1 and A becomes the N2. So this is the flow of signals. And then also this is the blocking assignment. So N2 is assigned using blocking assignment. So which means that N2 becomes A and N1 immediately. Okay, so it's done. So the value is immediately reflected. Then using this N2 value, then we can use the N2 can be also used by this equation. It's the same, right? So N2 is here. So N2 is the output of this entity. And then, so using this N2 and then C, then we can generate the N3, right? So it's reflected immediately, and the N3 is generated. Then also using the N1 and N3, and we can generate the output. So why do we use blocking assignment? So in the combinational logic design, so signal flow left side to right side in this example, okay? And then we already know that the signals are determined in the order of signals. So it means that these internal, the output of these internal signals are determined in the order of signal flows. Okay, that's why we need to use blocking assignment in this example. So usually in the combinational logic design, then we use blocking assignment, right? So that's why I use the blocking assignment in this example. So you can say that, oh, this we can use the non-blocking assignment because actually the outputs are, so those outputs are independent of each other. So there is no dependency, right? But in the combinational logic, we use blocking assignment, okay, usually. And then not to avoid bugs, critical bugs. So actually, I recommend you to use blocking assignment in the combinational logic design. So actually, you need to distinguish the meaning of this non-blocking and blocking assignment in SystemVerilog. So sometimes if you use the mix of non-blocking or blocking assignment, then you can create critical bugs in SystemVerilog code. Okay. So actually, I believe you are not familiar with these two different assignments because we are very familiar with this blocking assignment because we frequently use programming languages, and then programming languages actually use the blocking assignment. But in the hardware, hardware requires when we design or when we implement a real hardware, then hardware also requires the non-blocking assignment. So it means that the signals are determined, the signals are generated in parallel. Okay, so that's why we use the non-blocking assignment in SystemVerilog. Okay, so you can understand that blocking assignment is the same stuff, programming language. Then non-blocking assignment is that so signals are updated in parallel. Okay, so concurrently. So this means this concept is very important in hardware design. Okay. Okay, and then also actually recently we used many architectures. So actually parallel execution is also very important. but okay. So in the hardware design, so you can also understand that the signals can be updated in parallel. Okay. So let's see the example of blocking and non-blocking assignment, and then let's see how you can generate critical bugs using these different assignment. So let's see these two different representations of the SystemVerilog code. So what is different? So only this assignment is different, right? So this is already on the example. So it means that I want to generate deep flip-flop, right? And then deep flip-flop works with the rising edge of the flop. So N1 is assigned by D, and then Q is assigned by N1. Okay, and also the same. Actually, if I say like the N1 is assigned by D, and then Q is assigned by N1. Actually, when I say about this code, I said I use the same word. Okay? N1 is assigned by D, and Q is assigned by N1, right? But actually, the meaning of this hardware, which means that the representation by these two different code is also different. Why? What is different? So I use the non-blocking assignment, and then in this code I use the blocking assignment. So what is different? So let's think about how signals are updated by this clock signal. So if we see the this signal, this code, then we can understand that N1 is updated by B, right? So this is the N1 signal. Okay, N1 signal can be changed by some point, and then at the rising edge of the clock, at this point, then N1 is reflected to B, right? So which means that at this point, we sample the value of N1, right? And then the D is reflected by this value, okay? That this is 0 and it means the 0, okay? And then also at this point, it samples the value of N1 and then is updated at this point, okay? Then how about this Q? The Q is also synchronized with this rising edge of the clock. So what it means that, oh, this D becomes the N1. So it means that D is assigned by N1 at the rising edge of this clock signal, right? How about the Q? At the rising edge of the signal, then the Q is also check the value of D, right? But actually, this value is reflected at the rising edge of the clock. This rising edge of the clock. Why? So it is because, so this is the hardware, not software, right? So and then actually, if we use the non-blocking statement, then this assignment occurs in parallel. So which means that we do not consider order of assignment, order of statement if we use the non-blocking assignment. So which means actually this code is the same to the Q and 1 D. It's equivalent actually because it's a non-blocking assignment. So actually those assignments occur concurrently at the same time. So do not get confused. So this is the hardware. So actually we are generating hardware as software. So it's actually the same. If we just change the order of the assignment, then it's the same because this statement and this statement occurs at the same time in parallel, concurrently. Okay, so order is not important. Order, you don't need to consider the order of these two different assignments. So actually, in the hardware, it means that so D is updated by N1 at the rising edge of the clock, but we can observe the delay. Okay, so actually D is updated after some delay after the rising edge of the clock. So actually this update is sampled by this D flip-flop. Okay, so the Q becomes the value of N1 at this timing. Okay, this is the meaning of this code is same to this timing. But how about this? So on the inside of the always on the bypass, then I use the blocking assignment. So actually my intention is to generate flip-flops. Okay, but if we see that this code N1 is at the rising edge of the clock, N1 is immediately updated by D and done. And then this N1 value becomes this N1. The Q is immediately updated by N1. So actually, in the same timing. So at the rising edge of the clock, the D is updated at some delay, but actually this code represents that Q is also D is updated immediately, and then Q is updated and also immediately at the rising edge of this clock. Okay, because it's the meaning of the blocking assignment. So N1 becomes D immediately and down. Then this using this N1, then Q is updated. This is the meaning of the blocking assignment. So actually, when the hardware is generated from this code, okay, so we can synthesize the base gate using the SystemVerilog code, then different hardware will be generated. Right. So actually, using this code will generate two flip-flops, and then these flip-flops are serially connected. So this is the N1, and this is the Q. Okay. This is the N1, and this is Q. Okay, and then the clock, these flip-flops are working with the clock signal. Okay, but if this code generates the flip-flop, and then this code will generate only one flip-flop. So it is because the N1 is equivalent to D, right? D is actually equivalent to N1, right? And then this D is updated at the rising edge of the clock, the Q. So this code will generate only one flip-flop. So it's different. Okay. Okay. So let's see this example. So actually, this is the correct code, and this is incorrect code. Okay. Why? So I write the multiple statement in the order of signal flows, the left side code. Right. So firstly, the N1 is determined, and then N2 is determined based on the signal flows, the order of signal flows, and then N3 is displayed, and then Y is generated. Okay. So we can see the order of the signal update based on the basic D, the combination logic, and then I write the code in the order of signal flow. Now what is different? So you can find that N2 and N1, the order of N2 and N1 is changed, right? So then what is the problem? So problem is that, if we see that this array is statement, N2 is firstly updated, right? So N2 is first updated by A and N1, and after that, N1 is updated. Then this N2, if we see that this N2 is updated by old value of N1. Do you understand? Because so in this statement, the N1 is updated by not P immediately, that this is the new value. But if we see that this statement, this N2 is updated by N1, but this N1 is the old value, right? And then N3 is calculated using N2, but N2 is updated by old value of N1. Do you understand? Do you understand the difference? So the problem is that actually, if we simulate this code, so this is the incorrect code because the order of statement is not same to the order of signal flow. But when we simulate this code, then this code will also generate some waveform. Okay. But problem is that when we synthesize this code will generate the hardware like this. So it is because so actually when we write the SystemVerilog code, SystemVerilog actually define the connections of hardware. This is the synthesis. Okay. So when the hardware is generated, and then based on this connection, the synthesized tool will generate hardware. But when we simulate this code, the simulation result will be different from the behavior of hardware. So this is because the synthesis tool will generate this hardware, this combination of logic based on this code. Because actually when you write the code, then we just define the connections. Then the synthesis tool will generate this hardware based on this connection. But simulation result is different. The simulation result is generated based on the code. Okay. And then actually the simulation tool detects the blocking assignment. Oh, I will immediately update the N2. Then I will and N1 is updated by that B. And then this N2 is replaced the N3 by simulation. The problem is that the simulation result does not match with the synthesis result. It's a critical bug, right? So actually we can verify our code, we can verify our design using the simulation result. And then based on this verification, then we can generate the hardware. But if the simulation result is different from the hardware synthesis result, then it's critical, right? Right, because using our code, the different hardware will be generated. This is the critical bug. Okay, so when you use the blocking statement, then we need to consider the order of signal flows. Okay, by considering the hardware generation. It's very important. Okay, let's see another example. So actually I explain about some tactics, the good practice for the system design. So let's see this example. So how about this code? So actually I use two different codes. What is different? So I use the blocking assignment inside of the always affect statement. Then actually N1 is declared as the non-data type. And then also let's see what is right side code. So if you see that this right side code, so N1 is assigned by continuous assignment using the assign statement, right? So actually, these two codes are equivalent. Okay, so why? So let's see this example. So if you see this example, the N1 is immediately updated by D and A. So what does that mean? So it's the D, and then this is A, and then this is and A, and then it's N1. Okay. And then using the N1 to update immediately, and then 2 is updated, but the running edge of the clock. So it means it's a DQ clock, and this is the Q. So when the hardware is generated from this code, then you can generate the hardware like this. So using the B and A is the combination of logic, and then N1 is generated, and then using the N1, the N1 becomes the input of the flip-flop, and then the flip-flop is synchronized with the P1, and then Q is generated. So let's see the decision proof. So if you see the decision proof, the N1 is the output of D and the A, and this is the continuous assignment, right? So it's same actually, D, A, and then this is the AND gate, or it's N1. And then if we see the this flip-flop design, so this is the, and then this statement will generate D flip-flop, right? So using the N1, right? N1 is a clock, and then it's Q. So when the hardware is generated, it's the same. Actually, the behavior is the same, simulation result is the same. Because we use the blocking assignment here, so N1 is immediately affected by D and A. But this right-hand side code is recommended. So this is the practice of the digital design. So actually, when we use the continuous assignment, then we assume that we will generate the combinational logic. And then if we use the always the flip-flop, always at the statement, and then this positive edge. This statement is synchronized with the clock signal, and we assume that we will generate D flip-flop. So actually, in order to generate the D flip-flop, then we use the non-blocking assignment. And then in order to generate the combination logic, we use the blocking assignment or continuous assignment using assignment statement, assign statement. So this is our design, our intention. So then for the combination logic, we can use this continuous assignment. Then this output of combination logic is given to the input of D flip-flop. So this code is recommended, and then usually if we want to generate the D flip-flop, then we write the code like this. So we means that inside of the arrays on the FF, we use the non-blocking assignment. And then if we want to generate combinational logic, we use blocking assignment. So this is recommended. But sometimes, so you can say that, oh, this is correct code. Right, this is correct code. This is not incorrect. This is possible and then correct code, but it's not recommended. So this is because if we change the order of, so this is the problem. The order of assignment, like Q and 1 and 1, D and A, then this code will have different meaning. But we assume that inside of this array of the FF and all output signals, the output signal and identified signal are updated in parallel, so concurrently. So it's a practice. So I mentioned that this is not incorrect, right? But it is also possible, but it's not recommended. Sometimes we can generate critical fault if we just use non-blocking or blocking assignment. If we mix non-blocking or blocking assignment inside of the same statement, then we may generate critical fault. So it's not recommended. Just inside of the array of the FF statement, we usually use non-blocking assignment. Okay. So do not use blocking assignment, even if you may use it. Okay? Yes. So this code is recommended. So it's a combination logic design, and then the combination logic, the output of combination logic is also given to the input of it. Also, we can write the code like this, like the Q D and A. So it's okay. Okay. So the rules for a signal assignment, the simple combination logic is a simple combinational logic that we can use the assign statement, the continuous assignment. It is because when we use the continuous assignment, then we can define the combination logic using one line of code, right? Like the assign A equal B and C. So for simple combination logic, then we can use the simple assignment. We can use assign statement, so continuous assignment, and then more complicated. So for the more complicated, it means that the more complex combinational logic, then we can use the always on the comb and blocking assignment. Okay, so as I mentioned, not for designing or for implementing combinational logic, then we use blocking assignment. Okay, so simple combination logic, we can use the assign statement, and then complex combination logic, we can use the always on the comb and blocking assignment. But you need to be cautious of signal flows. Okay, so we need to avoid this case. Okay, you need to be cautious of the signal flows when you use the blocking assignment. And then for the flip-flop design, so it means that when we define the output of E flip-flop, then we use non-blocking. Okay. Then it's also very important. Assign a signal in only one always statement or assign statement. And it's obvious, right? Actually. So think like this. Assign A equal B. Okay, always A equal B and C. So this is not allowed. Okay. Sometimes the student can define outputs using the multiple statement. Okay. So we need to avoid this case. So it means that, so I mentioned that we use SystemVerilog to design real hardware. So and then it means that this A is driven by B, and then A is also driven by B and C. So it may generate some output in the simulation, because the simulation does not consider the hardware generation. But when the hardware is generated, then it's a wrong, incorrect hardware implementation. So it will cause contention, right? Because the same signal is driven by different values like B and B and C. So we need to avoid this case. So which means that the output of a signal should be only determined by only one always or assign statement. Okay. It's the same for the output of D flip-flop. The output of D flip-flop is also decided by only one always underbar FF statement. It's also very important. So this is the rules of signal assignment. So you can just understand. So actually, and then simply, you can understand that for the sequential logic design, like when we define the output of the flip-flop, and we can use the non-blocking assignment. And then if we want design combinational music, then we can use blocking assignment. Okay. So maybe this part you can think that this part is a little bit tricky because I believe you are familiar with the concept of this software programming, but the hardware design. So the hardware design concept is a little bit different from the software programming. Okay. This is the unique feature. Non-blocking and blocking assignment is the unique feature of the hardware for description languages. Okay, I hope you can clearly understand about the blocking and non-blocking statement. Okay, let's see how to design finite state machines in SystemVerilog. Okay, so let's leave it the FSM. So FSM is there are two types of FSM, more FSM and million FSM. And then if we see this more FSM and million FSM, then we can find three blocks. So what are three blocks of FSM? So it's next state logic here, the next state logic, and state register. The state register is here, and output logic. And then if we see this design of the FSM, then we can find that the state register is synchronized with the clock signal. So it means it's the sequential design. And then next state logic generates the next state using the input and current state. So this is the combinational logic. And then output logic. So in the Moore FSM, the output logic is determined by current state. So it's also a combination logic. And the Milli FSM, the input signal is also can be the input of output logic. So it's also combination logic. So then let's see how to design the FSM. So it means that the FSM inputs the flip-flops and combinational logic for next state logic and output logic. So this is the example, the smiling snail. It's the same. Okay, I will now explain. So this is the state transition diagram of Moore FSM and Milli FSM, right? And then based on this state transition diagram, we can write the SystemVerilog code. Okay, then let's see how. So let's see the Moore FSM first. So this is the state transition diagram, and there are three states here, right? And then what are input signals? So because Moore FSM includes the state register, so it means that multiple D flip-flops. And then in order to implement the D flip-flops, we first require clock, right? We require clock and reset. So this is because we can find the reset input in the state transition diagram. So this reset is given to this D flip-flop, right? Because the reset signal generates the initial state as 0. Okay. And input signal. So what is the input signal? Input signal is num. So this is the sequence of numbers. And then I define the output is the snail. So in snail, snail. So snail becomes 1 when it detects 0, 1. Okay, and then 0 otherwise. So this is the input and output codes of this snail Moore FSM. Then we can define the state type. So factor C, we can also define new type in the type bit. So we can define 3 state as 0, as 1, as 2. And then this is the logic. So, and then we already know that now to represent the 3 different states, then we require 2-bit signals, right? So the state type is defined. So this data type is defined, newly defined using the type bit statement. So, and then if you see the state type, then we declare current state and next state. So what does that mean? In the state register, this is the next state. So it's a state of the one next. And then the output of this state register is the state of the one current. So it's the current state. So now to design a backend, we need to declare 2 state type data, the signal. So it means the current state and next state. Then how can we implement the state register? State register is just a flip-flop, the group of flip-flops. Then input of this flip-flop is the next state, so state on the next, and then output of the flip-flop is the current state, the state on the current. So it's actually easy, but we need to consider the initial state by reset signal. When the reset is given in the reset state, then the initial state is as 0. And then I assume that this reset signal is the asynchronous negative reset. Okay, that's my assumption. So we can implement the flip-flop using the positive edge of clock and negative edge of reset underbar n. It means the negative reset, and then it's the asynchronous negative. This flip-flop is the asynchronous negative reset. So firstly, we can define the reset state. So when the reset is given, because this is the negative reset, it means that when the reset underbar n becomes 0, then it becomes reset state. So state becomes the S0, and then also as you can see, I use the non-blocking state, right? Non-blocking assignment. And otherwise, as in the normal case, then it's a state of the curve. It should be state of the curve. So it should be state of the curve. Sorry about that. So state of the curve becomes the state of the next. The rising edge of the curve. And that's it. Actually, this is the state register. Then how can we generate the next state logic? So we can generate the next state based on the state transition diagram, right? So when the input signal is given, then based on the input signal, then the state is changing. So then how can we generate the next state? So the next state is determined by current state and input signal. So we can use the case state, right? Because based on the case, so we can just define the current state. Based on the current. So it should be case state. Okay. So based on the current state, the S0, if the current state is S0, and then next state is the if the norm is 1, it's not S0, right? Because it's a ternary operator. The S0, and then the norm is 0, then the next state is S1. Right. So based on the state transition diagram, and we can easily define the next state logic with the case state mark. Also, if the current state is S1 and S2, S1. So like this. And before. So if we use the case statement, and we need to use the before in order to avoid generation of a latch. Okay. So in the default case, then state next state becomes the S0. Okay, so just the default the S0, which is the default option. So based on the state transition diagram, then we can generate the case next state logic using the case statement. So it will generate the combinational logic, right? So it's actually easy. If we use the case statement, then we can easily implement the next state logic. Also, we can notice that I use the blocking statement. So it is because it will generate the combinational logic. Then how about the output logic? The output logic is simple. In the Moore machine, the Moore FSM, the output logic is determined by current state. Okay. So and then if we see that this state transition diagram, then we can observe that the output becomes 1 only the current state is S2, right? So this is the output logic. Okay. So when we implement the FSM using SystemVerilog, then we need to implement the 2 different blocks like state register, next state logic, and output logic. Okay, and then based on the definition and the state transition diagram, and we can easily implement the state register. State register is just a different block, and next state logic. Next state is determined by current state and input signal and output logic. Okay. How about the milling machine? The milling machine actually, so we can apply the same approach for implementing milling machine. So also, and then actually this is the same. The milling machine also includes the clock and reset and norm and the snare output. And then if we see the state transition diagram, then there are only 2 states. So we also define the state type, but the state type is the logic type, not the vector of logic. And then it's the same state register. So as I mentioned, the state register is the deeply blocked. So this is the big state of the curve. So state of a curve. So I did not compile my code. So my code has some errors. So this is the deeply blocked state register, and then you can also apply the same approach for the next state logic. Okay, so you can use the always come and case statement. So this is also the big state curve. And then based on this state transition diagram, the state mapping determined by input signal, norm, and then output signal is determined. And how about the output logic? So this will be also state curve. So in the milling machine, the output is determined by current state and input signal. So we can write the output logic like this. So actually in the Moore machine, so when we implement the output logic, and we can also use the case statement. But in this video, for actually the output logic is very simple. So it means that if the current state is S2, then output becomes only 1. That's why I used this simple one-line assign statement for output logic. But sometimes the output logic can be more complex, more complicated. So we can use the also case statement for implementing output logic. So if the current state is S0, right? And then actually in the milling machine, the output is determined by also current state and input signal. Then what is the input signal? The input signal is the now. So if we just see the S0, so then it means the output is always 0, right? Because even though input is 0, then output becomes 0, and input is 1, then output becomes 0. So if the current state is S0, the output is always 0. How about S1? If the current state is S1, then if the input signal is 0, then output becomes 0. Input signal is 1, then output becomes 1. So we can write the code like this. So snail becomes 1. Based on the none, snail becomes 1, 1, 0. Also, we can write the code like this. Snail is same to none. So that's actually it's simple. So it means that if we just see the state transition diagram, then we can easily write the FSM code, right? So there are 3 blocks: the state register, next state logic, and output logic. But if we just understand the state transition diagram, then we can implement the FSM using SystemVerilog easily, like this way. Okay. Also, output logic is the combinational logic. So we use the lock statement like here, and then state register is the deeply block. So we use the non-blocking statement assignment. Okay. Okay. So this is the summary of the FSM design. The FSM includes the 3 blocks: the state register, next state logic, and output logic. So state register is implemented using deep flip-flops. And then actually most of FSM includes the reset state. So we require reset. Okay. And then next state logic. The next state logic is the function of current state and input. Then we can use the case state, next state. We can implement next state logic using case statement. How about the output logic? So there are 2 types in the board. Outputs are function of current state, and then mainly is the function of current state and input. Then we can implement those output logic with the case state, because the outputs are also determined by current state. Okay. And then also let's see the parameterized module. So sometimes we can define the parameters of SystemVerilog module. So this is the example. It's very simple. So parameter. This parameter is defined in the signal declaration. So it means that port declaration. So if we see that this box2 module, then this parameter is inserted. The parameter is inserted. So the width is declared as a parameter, and then A is the default value. Then if we see this port declaration. So as you can see, this is the box 2. The box 2 will have the 2 inputs and then 1 control signal, so selection signal, and then 1 output. But you can see that this the D0 and D1 is declared as the feedback of logic data type, but the width is the logic data type is declared as this parameter with -1 down to 0. What does that mean? You can change using this module, it's a parameterized module. We can change the width of the input signal of this box 2. Okay, so because the input signal is changing, the width of the input signal is changing, the output signal is also becomes the width -1 down to 0. It's the same. So y is based on the selection signal. So we can select the D1 or D0. Then when we instance this box2 module, so instance means that this box2 module is included in the parent module. So if we just define any parameters, then default value is applied. So in this instantiation, you can find that the parameter is not defined. So in this case, the default value is used. But if we want to change the width of the input signal, like the 12 bit, then we can define the parameters like this. Okay? So because the parameter starts with the cap symbol, and in the instance, then we can also define the parameter like this. So after the module name, we can define the parameter of this module, and then this is the instance name. So this is the instance name, and then the signals are assigned. Then this is the parameterized module. Okay, so I will stop here. So, okay. So thank you for your attention. See you in the next class.